When I found out I was coming to Japan to pursue further studies, I was so excited and also nervous at the same time. Today, I'm going to share with you 12 culture shocks that I experienced when I got to Japan. And some of them might actually shock you too. So stay tuned and watch all of it. Now, for context, I'm from Africa, and particularly the beautiful country of Zambia, home of the Mosotunya Falls, or as it's famously called, the Victoria Falls. So here I am, a man from the heart of Africa heading to an island far away called Japan, home of anime, technology, and Toyota. It took me 3 long flights to get to Japan, and I couldn't sleep the first night because it was such a new environment and the jet lag and time difference from my country was so big. So now picture this, an African man finally settled in Japan. A couple of days in, I started to notice that there are some differences in the way people behave in Japan compared to my country or other places that I've seen. So let me break down the 12 culture shocks that hit me as soon as I got to Japan. Now, bear in mind, these are my experiences and they're different for everyone. So bear that in mind as I tell you these things. Number one is timeliness and punctuality. I noticed that people here are very punctual. They'll keep time, appointed time. I was coming from a place where we have something that we even call Zambian time, where people are often late. Okay? So when I got here, I started to notice that things always seem to work like clockwork. The buses, the trains, even appointments with lecturers or anyone. So imagine being in such an environment and you're still operating on Zambian time. I missed a couple of appointments in the first week. I'm not saying it's 100% accurate, yes, but there's an active effort to get things done at the appointed time. So I really got surprised at how everyone had such a commitment in terms of being punctual and on time. And when people were late, they apologized so much it was almost uncomfortable. Like this person would apologize so much. Oh, I'm so sorry, and I'm so late. What? And then like, no, please don't. It's okay. So that really surprised me. Number two is safety and trust. There seems to be a basic like level of trust in Japan between people. So you find that if you lose a wallet or you lose something, you're going to find it at the police station. Someone will pick it up and take it to the police station. And your money will still be in the wallet. And no, there won't be any finder's fee or commission, which I found very surprising because usually when someone helps you, they expect something in return. So I was surprised here that you can leave something or lose something and you most likely find it at a designated place or where you left it, such that no one will even touch it. And then when it comes to safety, I noticed that women here are able to walk at night alone without being accompanied by, say, a male friend for protection and the like, which I found very interesting. Do you understand how big a deal that is? That you don't have to make sure that a woman has to get home safe. So I don't know how they've achieved this, but I'd probably attribute it to Japanese men also for being respectful to women because you can't say the Japanese police are everywhere. It's not possible. From my perspective, in Japan, you're more likely to find crime if you go looking for it than crime looking for you. If you're from certain places in the world, you understand what I mean by this. So, Japan is safe. As a visitor in Japan, I feel very safe. Number three is onsens. I don't know how to explain this, but let me try. So, onsens are hot springs, and you go there to relax and soak up the minerals from the natural hot springs and the like. But you do it naked with other strangers. So it's not like a swimming pool, but it's a public bath. Okay, so you get there, you take a shower, you clean yourself first, and then you can jump into the onsen. But then everyone there is naked. Now, these onsens are separated by gender, of course. Like there's a male onsen and a female onsen. But see, I found it strange because in my culture, you're not allowed, or rather, it's not common practice to see the nakedness of your elders. All right, it's disrespectful. But here, it's just something common because you can actually be invited to an onsen by, say, your boss or something like that. So friends often go to onsens to relax and also catch up and socialize and the like. And I found that really strange to me. Okay, it was really shocking for me. But over time, I've come to accept it and actually enjoy onsens. I actually went to an onsen once and it was quite an experience. No, I cannot show you a video of that, obviously, but I would say I would recommend it for someone who's visiting. But if you are say you're a family and you go to an onsen, I don't think your dynamics will be the same. People go to onsens feel a better sense of connection, I would say, because you're naked and you get to talk. It's like you have nothing to hide between you two. So it can be a great way of increasing your bond with your buddies. So tell me what you think about onsens, if it's something strange to you. So when I finally went to an onsen, I realized it's not so strange and people just mind their own business, which brings me to the next point. Minding your own business. I don't know if it's because of language barrier, but I've noticed that people seem to mind their own business. Like they don't really get too nosy into your business. And I like that about Japan. Now, if you're the type of person who is a nosy neighbor, you might find this type of culture a bit difficult because you always want to chat, chit chat, and things like that. So it's either people really mind their own business here, or I can't tell because I can't understand the language. So this brings me to point number 5, language and indirectness. Firstly, in Japanese, there are like 3 writing styles. There's hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Hiragana is what you start with, and it has simple words or simple sounds like su, shi, mi, zu, and the like. And then katakana is like borrowed words. So any word that is not Japanese, you use katakana to write it. So you have words like, say, hamburger or McDonald, or jusu, and and you use katakana to write those words. And then there is kanji. Kanji is now those complicated characters, and they're like 3,000 or so, and you have to master all of these to be good at Japanese. And then Japanese has like different levels, right? There's like N5, N4, N3, N2, N1, and then there's like business Japanese, which not anyone can speak. There is also different dialects, okay? So the people in the south, like in Osaka, speak a different type of Japanese than the people in, say, Tokyo. So people know the differences, but as someone who's just learning, it's very difficult. For the first time after so many years, since I was a child, I wasn't able to read and write. I was in an environment where I can't read or write. Like even simple things like a shop front. Like I'm in the bus and I'm looking and I can't understand a single thing. So you can imagine that kind of made me a bit uncomfortable. And it pushed me to start learning the language and the like. Number 6 is courtesy and friendliness. I don't know if this is just for foreigners, but so far, what I've seen is that people are very friendly and courteous. But it's not just about like foreigners, okay? Even on the road, especially when it comes to the road, it seems the pedestrian has the right of way, or say has priority. Like in other countries or in other places, people would be honking and hooting and the like. But here, if you find someone on the pedestrian crossing or is about to cross, cars actually stop, wait for the person to cross. even if the car arrived first. So I've noticed that even the kids, when the kids cross, they even bow and the like. So this brings me now to bowing. Like, people bow a lot here. They bow to say yes. Sometimes they bow to even say no. There are even people who bow like on the phone, like they're talking to someone on the phone and they're bowing, and when the call is over, they really bow. So the further you bow, the more respect. So if someone gives you a 90-degree bow, then oh my gosh, that's they've given you a lot of respect. So I found that quite surprising how much bowing is done here. And when it comes to like courtesy and the like, people queue up a lot in Japan. So even for a restaurant which they like, you'll find people who queue up, and you won't see anyone trying to pay the bouncer or anything. In fact, there are no bouncers. There is a waitress and the like. So people queue up patiently for their turn to enter a restaurant. And there's no shady stuff happening like let me in VIP or like no, I don't see that happening. So when we talk about courtesy, it also trickles down to companies. You can say it's customer service, I would say, but they give notices well in advance for things like even a power shutdown. Uh, I got a notice like 1 month in advance of a power shutdown, and the power shutdown happened at the exact time they had stated, and even finished earlier than anticipated. But just imagine being told 1 month in advance that the power will go on this specific day, specific time, and it actually happens. So this comes back down to the same thing I'd mentioned about timeliness and like people being on time and doing things like clockwork here. Number 7 is self sufficiency. Now, this is something I noticed here. A lot of things are done by machines, or there is a machine to do a lot of things. So I noticed that the old people seem to be quite self sufficient. They get to do their own things because there's a machine for everything. Where I come from, you can have people do things for you. Okay, you can empower people by giving them jobs. So you can have like a maid, you can have a security guard, you can have a guy to wash your car, you can have someone to do something. All right, but here everything seems to be like there's a machine for everything that you can think of. So I found it quite shocking because I got here thinking I could empower a Japanese youth and give them a job to maybe clean the house and things like that. But I was surprised. These guys gave me a machine. Hey, you clean the house like this, you wash with machine, you do everything by yourself. And I was like, oh no, this is so different. This is not something I'm used to. So it was quite a culture shock for me, seeing that here you have to be very self sufficient. And I felt really bad when I saw like old people doing things by themselves, but I've gotten used to it now because I see that maybe that's how they exercise also. I also noticed that a lot of the jobs like cutting grass, trimming the hedges, and things like that are done by old people. I haven't seen young people doing those type of jobs. And these old people will do these jobs with the machines. You find they have a little small tractor or a machine to cut the hedge and the like. So this is something I found quite interesting. So young people are doing other types of jobs, like maybe cashier and the like, but even the cashiers, like the cashier systems in Japan are automatic. Like you just put money inside yourself and it comes out. They're pretty much just supervising that whole process. I found it quite interesting that old people remain active and do these jobs, and they're very self sufficient, like self reliant. Number 8 is sleeping on the floor. In Japan, there's what they call futons, which is like it's like a duvet but a little thick little mattress which people put on the floor, sleep on, and in the morning they wrap it up and pack it away. So this allows for houses to be much smaller and the like. But I didn't expect that people would sleep on the floor here because where I come from, when you're starting out in life and the like, you'll be sleeping on the floor. And when you get a little bit of money, you'll be able to buy a bed and the like. So it surprised me that people with money can still sleep on the floor. It like sleeping on the floor is not associated with like poverty and the like here. It's just a tradition. Like that's how some people sleep on the floor. That's just how it is. Now, not everyone sleeps on futons, okay? But it's common for people to sleep on a futon, even if they can afford a bed. And then something which surprised me further is that there are hotels which offer rooms where you sleep on a futon. Like, I'll go to a hotel, pay money, and there won't be a bed, just the futon, and I have to sleep on the floor. I found that really crazy. Where are the poor people in Japan? I was expecting to see people begging on the traffic lights and the like for some change, or cleaning windscreens on cars for some change. But here, you don't see that. Like every country has rich people and poor people, but it's very hard to tell here if someone is rich or is poor. So either Japan is very good at hiding poor people, or the welfare system works very well. But whatever the answer is, I don't know. But I noticed a difference here that the poor people have I would say a decent type of living. Okay, so they don't go begging in the streets for some money or some change from people. Now I've moved around Japan, and the number of homeless people I've seen so far is, I would say, maybe two. So meaning if there are other homeless people, I can't tell that they are homeless. Okay, so the level of poor in Japan, I would say, is quite high compared to the level of poor in other places. So from my perspective as a visitor, it seems the welfare system in Japan really does work, and it keeps people off the streets. Number 10, the love for dogs. Guys, the way they treat dogs here is surprising. Like, they pamper them, they clothe them in like little cute clothes, and then they put them in baby strollers. Like, there are times when I've been walking thinking this lady is moving around with her baby, and when I look, it's a dog. Like, they really love their dogs, and dogs seem to be a status symbol, and they're not for security. Okay, so the number of people who have dogs is probably very little, but the dogs are really meant to be like a status symbol because they're like cute and they're like. I have not seen any stray dogs walking around in the streets. Like, I don't even remember the last time I heard a bark of a dog. Like, the streets are dogless, but when you see a dog, it's definitely pampered and well taken care of, and probably in a stroller. Number 11, no beards allowed. I found it quite strange that wherever I went, whether it's on the train or I'm at the shopping mall and the like, no one had a beard. Like, all the men and the women shave their beards. So in Japan, it seems it's seen as unclean to have a beard. So people always shave their beards. So you find that a lot of people around you don't have beards. And as a guy like me with a beard, I tend to pretty much stand out a lot sometimes. So it's not that beards are not allowed, but it's just that it seems there is a perspective that being shaven means you're clean, and having a beard means you're quite unkempt. So, beard gang, Japan, you're going to stand out here. Lastly, but not the least, and in fact, maybe something that catches you the moment you just come to Japan, is the cleanliness. Guys, Japan is clean, okay? I was so surprised at how people maintain like cleanliness here. Like, you don't find trash lying around, and people don't just throw away trash. In Japan, you have to move with your trash until you go to your house and throw away the trash. There are no trash bins around as you walk. The other day, I was walking home and I passed by an ATM machine, and there was this guy who came out of his car and used the machine But as he was leaving, going back to his car, he saw a piece of paper lying around, and he went out of his way, picked that piece of paper, went and threw it in the trash bin by the ATM, and then went on his way. But that piece of paper was not his trash, because I saw the whole thing. The only place where I've seen like maybe a lot of trash would have been in Tokyo, and this was at night when like a lot of kids were drinking and the like. But I'm sure in the morning it was clean again. So Japan is a very clean country, and if you're used to littering, you're going to have a tough time here. So it really shocked me at how clean the place is. So there you have it, guys. Those are the 12 culture shocks that I experienced coming to Japan. I could go on and on because there's so many things that I've experienced, but please let me know if there's anything on this list that shocked you. Like, would you like to try an onsen, for example? In my future episodes, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about life as a student in Japan and also life as a black student in Japan. So please hit the like button. Let me know your comments. Until next time, bye bye.